Hello, everybody. I hope you're well and having a great time this week. The topic for today's video is the effects of controlling mothers on adult men and its effects on their adult relationships. This is part 3 of the video, which entails healing. Part 3 of this video will also be broken into two parts, part A of healing and part B of healing. The current video talks is part A of the healing. Coming to healing for these men now. The first thing that they need to do when it comes to healing the effects that their controlling mother has had on them is dropping the addictions. Usually, a mother enmeshed man is quite avoidant of relationships in general in his life, and he doesn't have too many close friends. In order to escape feeling the loneliness, they usually resort to a lot of addictions so that they do not feel the inner emptiness and loneliness. Some of the addictions that they resort to can be, say, sugar addiction or addiction to porn or addiction to approval from the opposite sex or seeking attention from people on social media and then feeling like it is giving them a dopamine hit. All this keeps them away from their core painful feelings. In order to feel the painful feelings, they will have to drop the addiction. The second thing that they will need to do is to acknowledge the event. By acknowledging the event, I mean that they were shamed in childhood. They must understand that the role that as a little boy they were expected to perform was neither age appropriate nor apt, and a little boy should not have been expected to perform such a role. So they didn't quite fail at that role, so to say. And that supposed failure that their subconscious registered has set up the tone for feeling inadequate in adult life as well. So they must understand that they didn't quite fail at the role which was not appropriate for them at that particular age, and that they in themselves are adequate. They will have to acknowledge the fact that they were shamed as children and then do their healing work to drop that shame, which is called shame detoxification. The third thing they would need to do is to feel their feelings. In childhood, to suppress the pain and to not feel it, the pain of being shamed, they actually cut themselves off from their feelings. So they will have to dive deep into themselves, start feeling their feelings again, acknowledge the feelings. This will help them to go from being invulnerable to vulnerable and also become a little more relational than they have been since childhood. The fourth thing they need to do is to give up the control. I will explain what giving up the control means. So typically whenever they meet a new woman, on a subconscious level they start over giving and acting in a way so that they can please her, so that she does not reject them and likes them. So basically they are trying to have a control over her, not rejecting them by getting her to like them. But after a while of doing this, they begin to feel trapped in the relationship. So they need to understand that if somebody rejects them, it is not because they are flawed or they are inadequate, but because the person wanted to reject them. So them being rejected has nothing to do with them being flawed, and they in themselves are adequate and whole and wonderful. So once they stop fearing this rejection, they stop giving themselves up, and so they stop feeling trapped in the relationship. The next thing to do is to feel their feelings more deeply as they go ahead, and the next thing to do is responding from the second level of consciousness. Whenever there is a threat of feeling trapped or consumed, they must step back and think and breathe deeply for a few minutes and think whether they are actually being trapped, or are they responding from faulty childhood programming which makes them believe that they are being trapped. They will have to take a step back and think whether the demands which are being made by the other person are legitimate or they are not legitimate, and if they are responding from faulty childhood programming or they are actually being trapped. Whatever conclusions they come to, they will have to remain with the truth and let go of the lie that they have been hiding behind all their life whenever such a situation arises. This will help them to stop feeling trapped and deal better with people and situations in general. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for more videos in the next days.